If it truly is your highest excitement to do something, should you really feel resistance towards doing it? Does that mean that it actually is your highest passion or excitement? Or is something wrong? I've actually been asked this question a lot of times, so in this video we'll talk about the truth about resistance and your highest excitement. And by that I mean my answer, really, and I will also try to answer this question from a lot of different angles. Because I think what creates confusion is that a lot of spiritual teachers loves to share this idea about highest excitement, inspiration, passion, and that you should do that without having too much resistance. You might have heard things like, focus on your desire with no resistance and you will get a desired outcome. Or maybe Bashar's formula that you should follow your highest excitement with no attachment to the outcome and stay in a positive state. And all this kind of stuff. And the spiritual teachers, they put this in formulas, which makes it easy to remember. And it's a great teaching tool. I have nothing against it. But then life, with all of its beautiful messiness and chaos, shows up. And all of these annoying emotions and inconveniences. And all of a sudden, it's not that easy, right? You can get caught like between, oh, but I need to do this, but how can I lower my resistance here? And I don't want to feel resistance. And it's easy to get overwhelmed. So I want to talk about this idea from many different angles. I'm going to use a story from my own life as an example. I have a few points to make. I think the more important ones are the last two, but I kind of need to build up to them, so stick around. And my intention with this episode is that you will exit it with a much clearer idea of what it means to actually follow your highest passion or excitement without having resistance towards the thing. So let's go. Okay, story time. So last October, that's 8 months ago, I was actually this close to starting this channel. I had a perfect script prepared. I had spent a whole week preparing for the video and a lot more time preparing to launch this channel in general. And by preparing, I also mean procrastinating, right? Because let's face it, talking about aliens and psychedelics and spirituality publicly is kind of scary. So I've been procrastinating and I wanted to get it just right. And I had this perfect script prepared. And I recorded and I looked at the video and I was really happy with it. There were some things that were off in the energy. So I thought I'll just do one retake and then I'll publish and we start the channel. And this is something I had been poked at for a while from the spirit world that, hey, go out and create these videos. You're ready, it's time to go. And so I'm this close to starting, right? And then that day, the landlord that we was renting from called us to a meeting and said, hey, you guys cannot stay in the house that you're renting right now. So yeah, you need to get out within 6 months or so. Whew. And that created a lot of overwhelm for me and my wife. We have a 2-year-old. We had 4 cats. So we actually owned an apartment and we were renting this house, but we couldn't really move back into the apartment because now we had a kid and we have these cats and we had bought a lot of furniture for the house. So we needed to find a new place to live and we need to move and we need suddenly to sell the apartment. And to make matters worse, we hadn't had that much income for the last 1.5 years because we had a baby, and also my wife had some health problems after the delivery of the baby with her thyroid. And because of that, I had to take some extra responsibility for the family, and some of my older burnout challenges like chronic neck pain and that kind of stuff started to come back. So it was difficult for me to work as well. And because of that, we didn't have enough income to get a loan, so we couldn't buy a house, or at least it was very, very hard. Whew. Long story short, the next few months was a scramble to make things work. We had to get income fast. My mom helped out a lot with a loan, and we had to sell the apartment. There was a water leak in the apartment. My wife kind of crashed, so she had to go away and I had to take care of our baby. And yeah, I'm getting short of breath just thinking about it. It was one of the more challenging periods of my life. And During that time, I felt very stressed and honestly not inspired at all. And the weird thing is, like, during this time, we had to like do very physical things to survive and to, well, not to survive, but to, thrive in physical reality, right? And I didn't feel like I had much time for my passion. But all the time in my morning meditation, every morning, the spirit world just kept poking at me, like, do the videos. And I was like, but I don't want to, meaning I feel a lot of resistance towards doing it. I don't feel inspired. I don't feel like I have the time or the resources. I don't have the resources to do this. So like, why are you poking at me? And yes, this is my highest excitement to do these videos. But it's like I both have resistance and I don't have the resources. So why am I being put in this situation? It felt like regardless of what I did, it would be some kind of betrayal, right? If I keep doing the videos now, I'm kind of betraying my responsibilities as a father. And if I'm taking care of the physical stuff, I'm kind of betraying the vision and my value of living these kind of formulas, like Bashar's formula, which I want to have as a central thing in my life. So what to do here? Yeah, so I felt out of control. It felt like life was happening against me, not for me. I wanted to believe it happens for me, and I kind of did, but it didn't feel that way. And I didn't have overflow. I didn't feel inspired. Starting from that place felt fake, like I was forcing it. But then not forcing felt fake too, like I'm not being authentic, I'm not sharing my truth. So what do you do? What do you do when your highest excitement doesn't feel exciting? And I actually learned a few lessons from this period that helped me make peace with all of this. And that is what I will focus on now. And like I said, my favorite ones are in the end, but I have to build up to them with one point at a time. Okay, so first off, is it fear or is it just timing? Because when you have a big vision that you're excited about, but for some reason you can't really do it right now, you feel like there is resistance or that circumstances just doesn't support the thing, usually one of two things happen. Either it could be what Bashar calls red light synchronicity. That is like a stop from your physical reality saying that, no, this is not it. But it doesn't mean no, it simply means not yet. There might be something else that needs to happen first, some kind of process, some kind of thing that you will learn from, and appropriate timing will happen later. And this is hard for the physical mind, right? Your ego to understand, because the higher mind sees things from outside of time, from a higher perspective, and it can know that, oh, it's gonna be better for everyone if you actually do this thing a little bit later, so we're gonna take a detour for now. This is natural and it happens all the time. This is actually synchronicity. It's just a type of synchronicity that actually stops you from doing your excitement right now, but it doesn't mean no, it just means not yet. So it can be that, or maybe it's just fear. Maybe you're just scared of actually doing the thing. And I think you can usually tell by how much how much stress you feel and how contracted you feel in the body and how unwilling you are to even do a tiny thing that moves in that direction. So what's like a small thing that would create some kind of exposure to the vision that you have, especially if the vision is scary? Can you do like at least something that kind of proves to yourself that you're willing to challenge that kind of fear? So me, for example, during this period, I'm gonna start this channel where I talk about aliens and psychedelics and that kind of stuff. And I'm afraid what people might think. So I didn't feel like I had the resources to actually start a channel. But what I did is I actually started talking to like my parents and other people I thought would maybe judge me for this. And I just told them about it. Only to prove that, oh, at least I'm not being fully controlled by fear. And what remains is then red light synchronicity. So kind of test and challenge yourself, because it's really easy to have blind spots and to fool yourself here. So be skeptical towards your own mind and put it to tests. That's what I learned, at least. Okay, point number 2. Let's talk about hope and hopelessness, because this one is sneaky. When I felt the most stuck, like I didn't have the resources to follow through on my visions, I felt stressed, I felt down, I was just like hoping that things would change, that things would work out, or I would somehow magically like get out of this situation. And I was kind of hoping for help by the universe. Like, if I'm meant to do this, why don't you give me the resources? Please, like, help me somehow. I was hoping for synchronicity. I was hoping for guidance. I was hoping to feel better. But Brakoor would show me that this is sneaky. This is like, because hope can feel holy, like faith, right? But it's actually like a subtle form of lack, right? Because when you're hoping, you're also in that vibration that you don't have what you need right now. You're not in an abundance vibration. So Brakoor showed me in my meditations that hope and hopelessness, they're actually not that far apart. They're kind of two sides of that same coin that lack vibration, right? So instead of hoping for something better, what if I just try to be more empowered, be more aligned? He showed me that that is kind of what prayer is. It's you returning into your power. You're not hoping for other circumstances. You're just focusing on changing your vibration into a more empowered state. Like, the most obvious version of hope was that, I went on a psychedelic trip at that time, and I was like hoping that I would win the lottery, because I like to scratch lottery tickets when I'm tripping. I do it like a few times per year, and it's just fun. But that time, I was gripping it. I was hoping, if I could only do this, I would have more resources to follow my vision. But it kind of shows me how disempowered I am, that I need for that thing to happen to feel like I have what it takes. And it kind of narrows the focus down. It makes you feel less abundant, because you could have resources in many different ways, right? There are many ways you could get synchronicities. You could have your own ideas, you could come up with new things, you can take actions, but it kind of puts your state of power from within yourself to externalizing it and hoping for help. And the universe is not really gonna help you, because if it would from that place, it's just gonna shift your circumstances, but keeping your consciousness stagnant. And that's not what the universe wants from you. So the more you can abandon hope, the more I think you can step into a more strong place of power. Okay, so the next point is that you need to respect your belief systems, but also to gamble on your passion. And this is what I mean. When I was feeling the most stuck, if I would have heard me making these videos, I would be like, okay, great inspiration, future Emil, but what about all these practical things I need to do to survive? I actually really need to do them, otherwise I screw things up. And what Bashar would say about this is that, yes, you have to respect your belief systems. If you actually believe that you need to do something, then you need to trust that that is what you believe right now. Your passion could support you if you actually trusted it fully, but if you don't walk off a cliff. But what you can do is that you can respect your belief systems and do the things you believe you need to do to thrive in physical reality, but save a little bit of your time and energy to gamble on your passion. I used to play professional poker for a living for over 10 years. And throughout my whole career, I would always save 10% of my winnings and take a shot, as we said, at gambling on a higher stake. I would do this because that would really push my skills against harder players, and it would push my comfort zone. And I just wanted to see if I could fly and if I could win at that level. And you can do the same thing with your passion and your excitement. And the thing is, your ego won't like this. Your ego will say like, okay, but if I can only spend like 10% of my time doing this passion thing, it's not gonna be worth it. I'm not gonna have enough time. I'm not gonna create any momentum. But that is not true, because those 10% is not about building the thing, it's about building a character. It's about building a momentum. It's about starting a process that will allow your passion to show you that it can actually support you more and more. It's when you don't do this, when you create inertia, that's when you actually get stuck and you feel stuck, because you have this all or nothing mentality. So make sure you take a little bit of your time and energy to gamble on your passion. Okay, now we're getting into the points that I really wanted to talk to. So let's circle back to the question that we started this video with. If it truly is your highest excitement, should you really feel resistance about doing the thing? Because it's true, sometimes you feel a lot of resistance. Like you might feel, oh, this like heaviness of not having the energy to do the things you're excited about, or you don't have the time, or you feel this like scattered sense of nervousness about speaking your truth. Or you might feel like the heaviness of, I just want to do this thing, because if I don't, I wonder if I'm gonna miss out. Or you might be afraid that if I'm truly being my authentic self, other people might laugh at me, or you don't have the resources, right? You don't have the financial resources to do the thing that you want to do right now. And listen when I'm speaking, I'm just blabbering some resistant stories that you might have. When I'm blabbering like that, it all sounds like one thing, resistance, right? But if I were actually to group those things up, they are actually in like different buckets. There are different types of resistance. Some is negative resistance and some is positive resistance. And the way you can tell them about is that one type of resistance is based in fear. It's based in your ego trying to keep you small, trying to make you avoid taking risk, trying to keep you safe, and it's like an ancient part of your brain that is just wired to help you survive. It's not meant to make you thrive. It's meant to save you calories and help you survive. That's like the Stone Age brain that you have, right? But then there's this other type of resistance that is more about pulling you up towards your true self, towards your higher mind. And this is more like the sense of resistance that you get when you push your comfort zone. Like imagine that you go to the gym and you lift weights, right? There is resistance in the weights, but there's also resistance in life, right? When you go to the spiritual gym, so to speak, and you push your comfort zone and you move towards things that makes you grow. Brakoor says that the first type of resistance he wants to help me get rid of. He wants to push that bullshit out of me. But the second, more positive type of resistance, he just says, learn to live with it. It's always going to be there. Kind of like how the resistance of lifting weights, it's always going to be there as long as you exercise and you try to become stronger. So just learn to live with it, right? Learn to enjoy it and be clear-minded, and don't just think that all resistance is the same. Some is good, some is bad. Learn to spot the difference. Okay, so here's what I believe is the most important principle of this video. Show up, but you don't need to deliver. This is such a crucial principle to have. Let me give you an example. When I started my first Instagram account many years ago, I started posting inspirational videos and I wanted to cry in the shower when I posted them, because it was so much outside of my comfort zone to post that to my friends and family. And I wanted to make these videos like at least as good as I could, so I didn't have to be ashamed, right? And I kept doing it, and for the first like months to a year, I just felt like so awkward doing it because I didn't like the videos. But I actually had a friend who taught me this principle, Frederick. He was in a public speaking club with me. He would just tell me that just show up, just post the videos, you don't have to deliver. And I think that mindset is so important, especially if you're a bit of a perfectionist like I am. And I'm kind of in that dilemma right now as well. So when I'm starting this channel now, I'm gonna do channelings with Brakoor. I'm gonna go into an altered state and I'm gonna channel Brakoor's energy. And my ego would love for me to be on, like Bashar's level from the moment that I begin. But of course that doesn't happen. Like all these big channelers that you see, they didn't start that way. They all said that they had to go through a few years of learning how to work with the energy. And when they did that, they really pushed their comfort zone by showing up when they were not ready. And to do that, you really need to let go of your need to deliver and to get a good result from the very beginning. I actually had a private session with Bashar where he said that, well, if you want to develop channeling skills, channel for strangers. That's what you need to do right now. Go out, find strangers and channel for them and channel for money. And I'm like, oh no, charge people when I can't like guarantee that they're gonna get a desired result. And Bashar said, well, they're gonna get the result that they need and you are gonna get the result that they need. And if they don't want it, you can just give them their money back, right? Same thing, I have an agreement with Brakoor to every morning practice channeling with an AI to just channel his energy and practice going into that altered state. And some mornings I don't feel like it, right? But he says, no, you're gonna show up. You don't have to do it well, but you need to show up. One of my favorite books about creativity is called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. And in that book, he talked about how the Romans had a name for that creative power. They called it a muse, which means like inner spirit. And they said that if you sit down the same time every day, the muse will show up. It will come to those who are disciplined enough to do the practice. And the idea is to just focus on doing the practice and let go of the results. And I'm saying this to myself because I'm just looking for like the first exit to not have to do this. So please hold me accountable. Show up, but don't deliver. Join me on this quest. All right, guys. One final thing before we stop. I want to remind you that we are on a mission here. I'm passing along Brakoor's mission to help humanity prepare for open contact, to think differently about things like spirituality and psychedelics. So if you want to join that mission, come check out our community on brakoor.com. And also please remember to like this video, press subscribe. That really helps out this channel. We're just starting out. And send this video to a friend. Who knows? Maybe it will change how they think. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.